guys, welcome back to another video. So we are here again with Coach Lee, but this time it's called Interview with a Dumper. So it's kind of interesting. I was going through, some of the videos, and it's really cool. This idea, and I can't believe somebody actually did this in this space, because a lot of people want to remain anonymous. So what we're going to do is we're going to check it out. I'm going to put it at 1.25 times the speed, and let's go.
This is Coach Lee, and in this video, I'm going to interview two people who dumped someone and then came back to them. And these people bought my emergency breakup kit, and they followed the instructions there on how to get their ex back. And you'll notice that they didn't have the kit at first because most people don't know about it, don't know to look for information on how to get your ex back. And so they did some incorrect things at the beginning. And if you watched some of my other videos, then you'll recognize some of those mistakes by what they admit to doing, what they share that they have done or that they did early on after the breakup, but then they make a correction, and it's interesting to see the reaction from the ex. So pay close attention. I have one from a woman who dumped her boyfriend and another from a man who dumped his girlfriend. When their ex breaks up with them, both of them used the techniques that I share and guide you through in the emergency breakup kit, and let's see what happens. Why did you break up with him?
Things just got routine. Looking back, that's an immature reason to break up with someone, but my feelings just, I don't know, faded.
So whenever somebody says that kind of shit to you, it's usually lack of leadership, lack of intimacy, lack of dating, lack of courtship, complacency, right? When things get routine, usually guys end up in this just go with the flow mode instead of trying to create fun dates, trying to, get fun vibes for the relationship. I'm not speaking properly. I don't know why, but they're okay. So basically the energy it's boring. That's really what it is. It's boring and things get routine and stale and stagnant. Okay. So a good thing to do to prevent that is and again, injecting space into a relationship and giving time to miss each other. There's that, but you can still have a routine issue. So you need to be keeping things spicy. Now, going on dates, doing new things is good, but the best thing to do is just make sure you're not spending too much time around each other. And that's boring. You want it to be fun and captivating. So, and injecting space, but that means you also, as a man, have to be mission focused. Okay. Because when you're mission focused, you can inject space automatically by default. So because you'll be busy working on whatever you're working on, you won't be available every day or every 2 days. You'll be available 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes twice a week. And it's when guys start focusing too much on wanting to be around each other too much, too often, because you just want to be in that person's space. I get why you do. It feels good, but it's not a good thing to do. You have to be mission focused, and she's going to be trying to chase you. And if she's chasing you, that's feminine energy. That's what they do. They want to get a hold of you and try to keep you around them. But when men are not mission focused and they're relationship focused, it gets wacky. So that's usually what that means.
I didn't know why, so I just thought it was over.
And they always say, I don't know why, right? I'm not sure what happened. My feelings just changed. It's usually because the men are not doing enough backing off and creating fun activities and fun dates and sexual stuff to happen.
What happened after you broke up with him?
He kept saying he didn't understand, and he cried. He said a lot. I don't even really remember. And he asked me to take him back or to think about it. And he kept saying he was sorry, but he really didn't do anything, so that didn't make sense. He wouldn't let go of my hand, and it was just really, really awkward. I felt like I had to leave, and he was saying, please just stay 5 more minutes, that's all. But then he would ask for 5 more minutes, so finally I just got firm and said no. I really wished him the best. I hated to walk away, but, with him hurting like that. But I wasn't going to stay and just, not be happy or not want it anymore.
What happened in the days after the breakup?
So clearly he was chasing and pursuing, right? And trying to convince her and wouldn't give her the breakup. And that's just going to keep the emotional dials too high, right? So in a relationship, I try to make this simple, but this is just the way I look at it. There's a positive dial and a negative dial in a relationship. When the positive dial is high, it usually starts out high as well. So when it's high, infatuation, right? That's why it starts out high. When it's high, it's good, everything's good. But then what ends up happening over time when things get stagnant and boring and whatever, the negative dial ends up going up, and then the positive dial ends up coming down. And in order for a relationship to remain successful, you want the dial to be 8, 9, 10, 7 even, but you have the negativity dial needs to be low, which means you don't want to be fighting and creating negative energy. Anything that creates negative energy and negative attraction. So for example, if you're chasing and pursuing or too available, that's going to drop the negativity dial. Okay. So you have to be thinking, you have to be cognizant and go, okay, what am I doing in this relationship right now? Am I doing the most attractive things I could be? Or am I telling her that I love her all the time and she's not reciprocating that? You have to be thinking about these things. And that's where Atomic Attraction and How to Be a 3% Man will help you, because it helps you with that interaction on a day-to-day thing. And that's, again, being mission focused will help you, because you're not going to be so focused on what she's saying to you and what you're saying to her. You're going to be setting dates and you're going to be going on dates. That is literally all you guys have to really do. So let me turn here for a second. That's better. All right, let's do this.
I thought I'd hear from him, and I was dreading it. I don't know. When I didn't, I was glad. I thought that he was accepting it at first, and I was relieved. I thought I just wanted him to leave me alone. So, like, at first, I was just kind of happy. But it kind of seemed to set in with me, and my feelings just kind of changed. I started getting nervous and anxious. I guess I didn't like the distance, and I didn't know what was going on. Like, if there was another girl or something, or if he just was done, because I started to feel like I wasn't totally sure.
So obviously, since you two are back together, there was a point of contact. How did that happen?
Well, it was definitely painful, but I let a few weeks pass, and I felt crazy because I felt so sure when I broke up with him.
Yeah, that right there, I just wanted to pause right there. She felt so sure. So they don't want to just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? Just because, she might be regretting it, or she might be filled with anxiety. You have to let that anxiety build, because they know they're hurting you. So you have to think, I know it's hard to do because you guys are hurt, but you have to think about it from their perspective. If they broke up with you and then they just came back and broke up with you and just came back and never let those emotions, flow, then they would be hurting you over and over again, because they're unsure still and you're left in limbo. So it's not fair to you for them just to go back to you immediately. So they have to take their time. And so she said, I felt so sure, and now I'm not so sure. And she's going to take more time to make sure that going back is a good choice, because of how painful it is when they leave. They're relieved at first. Okay. They're always relieved at first because the emotions are so high. The negativity dial is so high. So the negativity dial needs to come down.
And it's like, what is my deal? I kept getting worse, and I wanted him to text me or call me or something, just to calm me down and to feel our connection again. He just felt so gone, and it was really getting to me. So it was week 7, I think, after the breakup, and I got home from work one night and was just looking at my phone wishing he'd text me. So I thought I'd type a text and not send it. Like, that sounded like it would feel good. So I just said something like, how's your week going? And then nothing seemed to happen. The conversation just ended. So the next day, I just felt really bad anxiety about it. I don't know what I wanted him to say. I mean, I guess I wanted him to say that he wanted me back, but I also knew it was my place to make amends, since I was the one who dumped him. I just felt so stupid for leaving him. Like, what was I thinking? Because I missed him so much, and now I was really worried he wouldn't take me back after what I did. So I just wrote a text asking
that anxiety is important,
if he would like to get a smoothie at his place, this place that we used to go, and he agreed. I really didn't know what I was going to say after some small talk. All I could get out that I was sorry and I'm stupid, and I just broke down crying. He ended up holding me.
Okay, so note there that at first he did begging, pleading, things that I tell you not to do. And what was her reaction to it? It was not positive. She wanted him to stop. She was hoping he would leave her alone. It was actually pushing her away. She was becoming even less attracted to him. Her attraction was already low, or else she wouldn't have broken up with him. But his actions were making her want to be away from him, which is the exact opposite of what he was wanting. Now, he got the emergency breakup kit. And what happened after that? It wasn't instant, was it? It wasn't right away. And a lot of people are looking for a magic bullet that happens in 30 minutes. It does not work that way.
I can verify that fact. There is no shortcut, guys. You have to understand this stuff. When somebody, if you get to the point where somebody's emotional dial for you, in terms of negativity is too fucking high. Basically, when the relationship is too negative for too long, and there hasn't been any fun, there hasn't been any, good things that have happened for a while, or look, she just might feel over it. You have to let them go, and you have to let them feel what it's like to be without you, because the more you try to convince them that they're making a big mistake, they're just going to want to leave more. And you have to get to the other stages. Relief has to go. You have to go through it. And everybody going through the breakup, the dumpies, don't want their exes to feel relief that the relationship is over, right? So, but in order to get to the other stages, you have to let it go that way. And I'm going to cover his other video in another video. I also did a video on it, the stages, but he has a video, and we'll cover it later, and we'll go through all the stages.
But things started working in her mind. And I have a video called What Happens in the Mind of Your Ex During No Contact, or What is Your Ex Thinking During No Contact is the actual title of the video. The thumbnail says The Mind of Your Ex. But note that she was relieved at first. Like, okay, he's leaving me alone. Good, I can go live the life I wanted to live and enjoy the breakup I wanted to enjoy. But then what happened? She started to wonder about him. She started to look at her phone and wonder why he wasn't texting her. Then she started to think that maybe she had made a mistake. And if she did, was he going to get away?
Right.
Was he going to move on? Because she's not sure now, and him moving on would be a bad thing. And then she got really scared that he was going to leave and began seeing his value in her life to the point that she reached out. The next interview is with a man who broke up with his girlfriend. Why did you break up with her?
She wasn't looking at things from my point of view. After 2 years, I felt like she should be better at putting herself in my shoes.
What happened when you broke up with her?
She asked if we could look at a house. It was more for fun, but I just thought if I was going to break up with her, I needed to do it before we started doing that. So the next night, we were supposed to go look at that house, and I went to pick her up, but just sat down, and I said I didn't want to date anymore. She cried. She said she didn't mean to and would work on it, and I said I was sorry more, but that I thought it was best if I just left.
What happened in the days after the breakup?
She sent me flowers the next day with a note saying how sorry she was and how she would change and to please give her another chance. And she texted me that night to ask if I got them. I did reply that I did, and I appreciated it, but I thought it was best to keep things this way.
This is really interesting because you can tell that with the girl and him, the chasing doesn't help. It never does. I don't think I've ever seen a situation where a guy has gone back. So a guy has chased the girl, and she's gone back to him with that same attraction level being high. Sometimes people will take you back because they pity you or whatever, but that's not attractive at all. They're just like, yeah, okay, I'll be with you, I guess, whatever. So guys, always remember mission first and stop chasing.
She did not respond to that text, and I didn't hear from her, and it had been like a little over a month. And that's when I kind of started missing her and what we had.
So since you two are back together, there was a point of contact. How did that happen?
It was like missing her overwhelmed whatever problems we were having. I didn't want to lose her to some other guy. I just felt like I didn't know what was going on and didn't want her to move on or get away now that I felt like I wanted her back. So I texted her if she wanted to meet for lunch. She said she'd think about it. So the next day she said she could. I asked how she was doing and smallish stuff. And then I said I had thought about it and wanted to give us another chance if she would. She said she was open to it. So we just kind of started picking things up again. And about 2 months later, we started looking at houses again. I bought one and we moved in together about 4 months ago.
So notice the theme, the commonality that these two cases share. Both of the exes were relieved at first because the person backed off. And so a lot of people, when their ex breaks up with them, they panic if there's any sign of relief. And what I have to get people to understand through my videos or through my emergency breakup kit is that that's normal. And you actually want that to happen. Because if they don't get through that stage, they can't get to the other stages. And so if you remain in contact and you remain in their life and you keep trying, begging, pleading, trying to talk them into getting back together with you, you don't let them go through that phase so that they can get to the point where they realize this might not be what I want. And so that's very important, is that you back off, you give them silence, you use the no contact rule, and you let them go through the process. In some of my videos, I talk about it as being a cake in the oven. You cannot rush it. Time is actually part of the recipe. In today's world, we think we can just do things faster. We can throw more people at the project. We can pull an all-nighter. But with this, time is actually part of the equation. And so you have to give your...
Yeah, and like I cut him off, but you have to understand that this entire thing is a process. Giving the space is a process. And you, again, there's going to be people in the comment section that just move on, just move on. There are going to be, like, to people who want to say that, I get where you're coming from and why you want to say that, but there are people who are coming across this kind of information for the first time. If you're just like, hey, move on, people are going to be like, what? Like, how? You have to give them a subtle way to push them in a certain direction, and understanding women and understanding what women are looking for and saying, okay, this is where you went wrong. And they'll look back in hindsight, and then that's when they'll accept new information, when they're like, oh shit, yeah, no, you know what, that's right. And saying just move on doesn't, it's not enough. It's not enough to get most people to really make and see those changes. That's when people become red pilled, when they look back and they're like, shit, yeah, man, fuck. And then that's how you get people to really make some serious changes. But a lot of people who also say that didn't have the emotional capacity to let these stages go through properly, right? A lot of guys that come to me, they're like, man, I used to be this strong alpha male guy, super strong, super positive, super this, super captivating, and all that. And you, by talking to them, you're like, man, this guy's so strong. How the fuck did he fuck this up? And it's just because some people, when they're faced with emotional turmoil, they can't handle it, no matter how strong they are. Okay, they're not used to it. So, and I'm not saying you have to go through it that many times to get used to it. You just have to know your worth. And sometimes people when someone walks away, it can trigger old memories and whatever. Anyway, let's finish out this video.
The project, we can pull an all-nighter. In today's world, we think we can just do things faster. We can throw more people at the project. We can pull an all-nighter. But with this, time is actually part of the equation. And so you have to give your ex plenty of time if you want them back. It's very important. And the rewards go to the patient and the strong.
And that's what happened with me, guys. Okay. So, and you know what? We'll just end it there. So that's what happened with me, because what I did is I just said, I'm out. I'm not going back. Like that's what went through my mind. And when they called, I was always like, yeah, you know, right. And they were filled with anxiety. They were filled with regret. Okay. And then I was able to choose, but it's because I went and started living my life. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to go do this. Right. I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to go focus on myself. I'm going to go, you know, that was my focus. And that was where I wanted to be mentally. And that's what happened. And they all every one of them called me back, every single one at some point. Right. But I was always doing something new, or didn't want to go back, or I was with a new girl or whatever. That being said, I did jump into relationships too fast and too early, unhealed, but I healed and got through it. And I just advise you guys just to focus on your missions. Like, I understand that kind of advice is almost too simple sometimes, but I promise you, if you're mission focused and you focus on you and you really put your energy into yourself, as Aaron Doughty puts it, your two energies were intertwined, right? And then when you separate, you have that separation anxiety, right? And then when you have your two, you know, people again, you're a better version, right? You've gone through the pain, you've learned the lessons. So now you can come back into another entanglement, as Jada fucking Pinkett would say. And, you know, then you can be a better person. Okay. So anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. If you want coaching, it's right here. Okay. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Done.